Alex Mercer stared at the blinking signal on his monitor. The xenobiologist had been aboard the exploration vessel Starlight Venture for 3 years, but he'd never seen anything quite like this. "Captain Wright," he called through the comm. "You might want to see this." Captain Olivia Wright appeared on the bridge minutes later, her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. "What have you found, Lieutenant?" "A distress signal, but strange." Alex pointed to the pulsing light on his screen. "It's not matching any known patterns, and it's coming from HD 219, which isn't supposed to have any intelligent life." Olivia frowned, leaning closer. "Have the probes picked up anything else?" "That's the odd part." Alex switched to another screen showing star charts. "Look at this. According to our data, at least 3 different spacefaring species have completely avoided this sector for centuries. There are deliberate navigation paths around it." Communications officer Ryan Porter joined them, concern etched on his face. "I've been checking the archives. There are warnings about this region in at least 5 different alien languages. Most translate roughly to death zone or predator territory." The captain straightened, arms crossed. "Recommendations?" Science officer Grace Kelly shook her head firmly. "Protocol is clear. Unknown threat warnings from multiple species means we mark it and move on." Alex felt a strange pull toward the mysterious signal. "Or we could investigate carefully. We're an exploration vessel, after all." "With all due respect, we're here to study known life forms, not get ourselves killed," Grace argued. "What if someone's in genuine distress?" Alex persisted. "What if the warnings are based on superstition? We'd be the first to make contact." Captain Wright considered this for a long moment. The Starlight Venture had been sent to chart unexplored systems, not to run from them. "Prepare a shuttle. Minimum crew. Full defensive measures. Lieutenant Mercer, since this was your discovery, you'll lead." 4 hours later, Alex stood on the surface of HD 219, a rocky planet with thin but breathable atmosphere. Behind him, Security Chief Jason Wells kept his hand near his weapon as they approached a crashed vessel unlike any they'd seen before. "The hull material isn't in our database," said engineer Amanda Clark, scanning the wreckage. "It's at least partially organic." Alex moved closer, feeling an unexplainable sensation pulling him forward. "There's something alive inside." "Lieutenant, maintain distance," Jason warned, but Alex was already at a tear in the hull. A low growl emanated from within, raising the hair on Alex's neck. Slowly, a massive form emerged from the shadows. The creature stood nearly 8 feet tall, with midnight blue scaled skin, 6 limbs ending in curved claws, and eyes that gleamed with unmistakable intelligence. Blood oozed from several wounds on its body. "Weapons ready," Jason shouted, raising his rifle. Alex raised his hand. "Wait, it's injured." The creature locked eyes with Alex. Suddenly, his mind filled with images: stars, planets, a chase, betrayal, pain. He gasped, staggering backward. "Alex." Amanda grabbed his arm to steady him. "It's communicating," Alex whispered. "Telepathically." The creature growled again, this time less threatening and more pleading. It projected a single concept into Alex's mind: help. "We need to take it aboard," Alex said with certainty. "Have you lost your mind?" Jason stepped between Alex and the creature. "Look at those claws, those teeth. It's a predator." "It's dying," Alex countered. "And it's intelligent." Captain Wright's voice came through their comms. "What's happening down there?" Alex never took his eyes off the creature. "Captain, we found a survivor, requesting permission to bring it aboard for medical treatment." "Species?" she asked. "Unknown," Alex replied, but even as he said it, recognition flickered in his mind. Knowledge somehow transferred from the creature. "Wait, I think it's a Voraxian." The comm went silent. When the captain's voice returned, it was tense. "Lieutenant, are you certain?" Varaxians are Class 1 threats throughout known space. The creature projected another image to Alex. Hunters, traps, betrayal. Captain, it needs our help. Alex felt the connection growing stronger. And I think everything we know about Varaxians might be wrong. The Starlight Venture's medical bay had never been so tense. Chief Medical Officer Daniel Pierce worked silently, applying regenerative gel to the Varaxians' wounds, while 4 security officers stood with weapons ready. The creature, Krell, as Alex now knew it called itself, lay still on the reinforced examination table, its 6 limbs secured with restraints that everyone knew wouldn't hold if it truly wanted to break free. "This goes against every protocol we have," Captain Wright said, watching from behind a protective barrier. "Varaxians are classified as the deadliest predatory species in known space." Alex stood closest to Krell, feeling the creature's pain and fear through their mental connection. If that's true, why hasn't it attacked? It could have killed us all on the planet. "Maybe it's too injured," Security Chief Jason suggested, his finger hovering near his weapon's trigger. Daniel looked up from his work. "Actually, its biology is fascinating. These wounds were deliberately inflicted. See these burn patterns? Someone was trying to capture it alive." Krell's eyes, deep amber with vertical pupils, focused on Alex. Images flooded his mind. A peaceful Varaxian settlement, then ships arriving. Hunters with nets and energy weapons. Sport. Trophies. "They were hunting you," Alex whispered, and Krell blinked slowly in confirmation. The ship's communication system suddenly blared. "Captain Wright, this is Admiral Green of Galactic Alliance Command. Our sensors detect you've taken a Class 1 threat aboard. Explain immediately." Olivia moved to the comm panel. "Admiral, we found a crashed ship with a single survivor. We're providing medical assistance as per our humanitarian protocols. Your sensors must be malfunctioning, Captain. Our database confirms you're housing a Varaxian. These creatures are responsible for the destruction of 3 colonies and countless ships. Your orders are to terminate the threat immediately." Alex stepped forward. "Admiral, with all due respect, this being has shown no aggression. It's communicating with me telepathically." "Lieutenant Mercer," the Admiral's voice hardened, "Varaxians use telepathic abilities to manipulate prey before attacking. It's affecting your judgment. Captain Wright, you have 1 hour to confirm termination, or we'll consider your vessel compromised." Green out. Silence filled the medical bay. Daniel continued working on Krell's wounds while everyone processed the Admiral's orders. "We can't just kill it," Alex said finally. "There's more to this story." Captain Wright rubbed her temples. "We have direct orders." "Orders based on what?" Alex challenged. "Has anyone in the Alliance actually studied Varaxians, or do we just hunt them on sight?" Through their connection, Alex felt Krell's growing distress. The creature projected images of its kind being systematically exterminated, hunted to near extinction based on stories and fear. "It says they're nearly extinct," Alex translated. "They've been running and hiding for generations. And we're supposed to just take its word?" Jason asked. A soft voice spoke up from the doorway. Communications Officer Ryan Porter had been quietly observing. "Actually, I've been researching since we found it. The earliest accounts of Varaxian attacks have inconsistencies, and there are older records suggesting they once had peaceful contact with humans." Captain Wright looked at the wounded creature, then at Alex. "I need time to think. In the meantime, secure it somewhere safe. Not the brig, somewhere comfortable but contained. And Alex, stay with it. You're our only translator." As Daniel finished treating Krell's wounds, Alex helped the medical team transfer the Varaxian to a modified cargo bay. Once alone with the creature, Alex felt their mental connection strengthen. "I'm going to help you," he promised aloud, knowing Krell understood. "But I need to know the truth about your kind." Krell's response came as a series of images and emotions rather than words. Gratitude, trust, and a deep sadness for countless years of misunderstanding. In that moment, Alex realized he wasn't just defying orders. He was potentially rewriting galactic history. Alex sat cross-legged on the floor of Cargo Bay 3, now converted into makeshift living quarters for Krell. The Varaxian rested on a nest of cushions and blankets, its massive form curled almost like a cat. Security cameras had been disabled, officially due to technical difficulties that engineer Amanda Clark had helpfully created. "Captain," Alex spoke into his communicator, "I need more time. There's so much we don't understand." Captain Wright's voice was strained. "Alliance Command is demanding updates every hour. I can't stall them forever." "Then don't tell them anything." Alex glanced at Krell, whose amber eyes watched him with intelligence that couldn't be denied. "Let me learn more first." Through their mental connection, Krell shared fragments of Varaxian history. Alex saw peaceful settlements, advanced technology, and a harmonious society. Then came images of another species, reptilian hunters who attacked Varaxian worlds, committed massacres, and fled before investigators arrived. The galaxy blamed Varaxians for the violence. They were framed. Alex told Captain Wright later in her private quarters. Security Chief Jason and Medical Officer Daniel had joined them. Some other species conducted raids and left evidence pointing to Varaxians. Even if that's true, Jason argued, these creatures are still apex predators. Those claws and teeth aren't for show. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. But many predator species evolve intelligence and social structures that move beyond pure hunting instincts. Look at humans. We evolved from hunters too. Krell showed me their society, Alex insisted. They're not mindless killers. They're refugees, hiding from genocide. Captain Wright paced the room. "I want to believe you, Alex, but your mental connection with this creature concerns me. How do we know it's not manipulating what you see?" "There's one way to find out," Alex suggested. "Let others meet Krell. Not just see it from behind barriers, but actually interact." Despite Jason's protests, the captain agreed to a controlled introduction. Communications Officer Ryan Porter volunteered first, then Engineer Amanda Clark. Each spent time with Krell under Alex's guidance. By the third day, 5 crew members had formed tentative bonds with the Varaxian. "It's nothing like what they taught us," Ryan told the captain. "Krell understands our ship systems better than I do. And when I showed it star charts, it corrected our navigation data for 2 entire sectors." Alex's connection with Krell deepened daily. He learned that Varaxians formed lifelong bonds with compatible minds. Soul kin, as Alex translated it. Once bonded, they would protect their companions with their lives. In the old days, Alex explained to the growing number of crew members who visited Krell, Varaxians and humans were allies. Early space explorers formed these bonds. But after the false attacks, contact was lost. As days passed, more crew accepted Krell's presence. Even Jason relaxed slightly when Krell demonstrated protective, rather than aggressive instincts during a minor ship malfunction. Everything changed when the ship's alarms blared one morning. Captain Wright's voice came over the intercom, tight with tension. "Alliance vessel approaching. They're demanding immediate boarding and inspection. They know about our passenger." Alex rushed to Cargo Bay 3, finding Krell already alert. Through their connection, he felt the Varaxian's fear, not for itself, but for Alex and the crew who had shown kindness. "We need to hide you," Alex said, but Krell projected a different thought. Varaxians never hide from threats to their soul kin. Captain Wright arrived moments later. Alliance Commander Ethan Rivers is leading the boarding party. He's brought a specialized team. Hunters, essentially. "We can't let them take Krell," Alex said firmly. The captain nodded slowly. "I spent my career following Alliance protocols, but I also spent the last week seeing evidence that those protocols are based on lies." She straightened her uniform. "Tell Krell we're going to protect it. But we need to be smart about this." As the Alliance vessel docked, Alex felt Krell's mind touch his with surprising calm. For the first time, he received not just images, but a clear thought in words. "Together, We change everything. Commander Ethan Rivers strode onto the Starlight Venture with 4 armed specialists at his back. His face was hard, his uniform crisp, and his eyes missed nothing as he surveyed the receiving area. "Captain Wright," he said, not extending his hand. "Alliance Command is very concerned about your reports, or rather, your lack of proper reporting." Captain Olivia stood her ground. "Commander, my ship encountered a wounded sentient being. We provided medical assistance as required by Exploration Directive 7. A Voraxian is not a sentient being under Alliance law," Rivers replied. "It's classified as a deadly predator. My team is here to secure and remove the threat." Alex stood slightly behind the captain, keeping his face neutral despite his racing heart. Through his bond with Krell, he could sense the Voraxian moving through the ship's maintenance tunnels, following their hastily formed plan. "We request time to present our findings." Alex spoke up. "We've made significant discoveries about Voraxian biology and behavior that contradict Alliance records." Rivers narrowed his eyes. "Lieutenant Mercer, I presume. Your name is prominently mentioned in our briefing. Alliance psychologists suggest you're suffering from telepathic manipulation." "With respect, sir," Medical Officer Daniel stepped forward. "I've conducted thorough brain scans on Lieutenant Mercer. There's no evidence of coercion or altered neural patterns." Rivers smiled thinly. "Then you won't mind if my specialists conduct their own examination. In the meantime, we'll secure the Voraxian. It's in quarantine," Captain Wright lied smoothly. "For everyone's safety. My team is prepared for containment," Rivers insisted. "Take us there now." As they moved through the ship's corridors, Alex carefully projected calming thoughts to Krell, who was paralleling their movement 1 deck below. The plan was to keep the Voraxian hidden until they could somehow convince Rivers of the truth. That plan fell apart when one of Rivers' specialists activated a handheld scanner. "Commander, I'm detecting non-human life signs, not in the quarantine section. They're moving below us." Rivers whirled on Captain Wright. "You're harboring it. This is treason, Captain." "Commander, please listen," Alex pleaded. "The Voraxian, Krell, is peaceful. The Alliance records are wrong. Secure them," Rivers ordered his team. "Then find the creature and eliminate it." 2 specialists moved to detain the Starlight crew, but suddenly the ship lurched violently. Alarms blared as Engineer Amanda's voice came over the comm. "Structural failure in Section 12B. Coolant leak detected." The distraction was Amanda's doing, but what happened next wasn't planned. As Rivers and his team regained their balance, a section of ceiling collapsed near them. Engineering Officer Lisa Bennett, who had been trailing behind, was directly in the path of falling debris. Before anyone could move, a blue blur shot through a maintenance hatch. Krell appeared, using 4 powerful limbs to catch the falling metal while shielding Lisa with its body. Rivers and his specialists raised their weapons immediately. "Don't shoot," Alex shouted. "Look at what it's doing." Everyone froze as Krell carefully set aside the heavy debris, then checked Lisa for injuries with surprisingly gentle claws. The Voraxian made no aggressive moves toward Rivers or his armed team, despite the weapons pointed at it. "It saved her," one of the specialists whispered. Rivers' face showed conflict. "It's a trick. They're cunning hunters." "Then why didn't it attack when it had the perfect chance?" Captain Wright asked. "Your team was disoriented. It could have killed you all." Krell backed away from the humans, making itself as non-threatening as possible. Through their bond, Alex felt no aggression from the Voraxian, only concern for Lisa and a deep sadness at being feared. Lisa stood shakily. "Thank you," she said directly to Krell. "You saved my life." The moment was interrupted by a violent shudder that ran through the entire ship. This time, it was no planned distraction. "Captain," Ryan's voice came over the comm. "Alliance reinforcements have arrived. They're locking weapons on our position." Captain Wright locked eyes with Rivers. "Commander, you have a choice to make. Help us find the truth, or be part of a massacre based on lies." For a tense moment, No one moved. Then Rivers slowly lowered his weapon. "You have one chance to convince me," he said, "but we need to get this ship to safety first." The Starlight Venture limped into dock at Outpost 47, a remote Alliance science station orbiting a gas giant. Captain Wright had chosen it carefully, just official enough to be legitimate, but understaffed enough to minimize witnesses. Commander Rivers, still wary but no longer openly hostile, had helped convince Alliance Command that they were bringing in the Varaxian under controlled conditions. "We have 48 hours, Captain Wright told her crew. That's how long before Command expects Rivers to complete his mission and report back. Alex and Krell spent most of their time in the outpost's archives. The Varaxian moved quietly through the dimly lit data stacks, its large frame surprisingly graceful as it helped Alex search through historical records that weren't accessible on the main network. "Look at this," Alex said, pointing to an ancient report he found. "First contact records from 2187. Humans encountered a spacefaring species that matches Varaxian description. It describes them as cautious but diplomatic." Rivers, who had insisted on accompanying them, leaned closer. "That contradicts everything in our current database." "Here's more," Alex continued, excitement building. "Joint human Varaxian colonies established in the Cygnus sector. Scientific exchanges. There's even mention of a special bond forming between some humans and Varaxians." "Then what happened?" Rivers asked, his skepticism fading. Alex scrolled further, but files became corrupted or missing. "Something around 2230. A major incident, but the details are redacted." Krell placed one clawed hand gently on Alex's shoulder, sharing mental images of the truth. Alex gasped at the vivid scenes. "The Seraph," Alex translated. "Another species jealous of the Alliance. They attacked several colonies disguised as Varaxians, leaving evidence pointing to them. When humans demanded answers, the Varaxians retreated rather than fight their new friends." Rivers frowned. "That's convenient. The Varaxian version puts all blame elsewhere." "Then explain this," came Daniel's voice as he entered the archive room. He projected a hologram from his medical scanner. "I've been studying Krell's biology. Varaxian brain chemistry shows impossibly high empathy markers. Their hunting instincts activate only in two circumstances: self-defense or defense of bonded companions." Ryan Porter joined them, carrying an ancient data crystal, and I found this in the linguistic archives. It's a Varaxian human dictionary from before the split. Look at the introduction. The text described Varaxians as the most loyal allies humanity has encountered and detailed the telepathic bond process as a sacred connection based on mutual respect. Rivers stared at the evidence, his certainty visibly crumbling. "If this is true, why hasn't anyone discovered it before?" "Because no one lived long enough to tell," Alex said quietly. "After the incident, Alliance protocol was to shoot on sight. No questions, no investigation." Engineer Amanda burst into the room, breathless. "We've got trouble. 3 Alliance cruisers just entered the system. They're not responding to hails." Rivers checked his communicator. "This isn't scheduled reinforcement. Something's wrong." Captain Wright's voice came through the station comms. "All crew, prepare for immediate departure. Our friends at command didn't buy our story." Alex looked at Krell, whose amber eyes showed not fear but determination. Through their connection, Krell shared coordinates, a location deep in unexplored space. "Krell knows where other Varaxians are hiding," Alex told the others. "A sanctuary." Rivers stood silently for a moment, then made his decision. "I'll help delay the cruisers. Give you time to launch." "You'll be court-martialed," Captain Wright warned when they reached the bridge. Rivers watched the approaching Alliance ships on the monitor. Maybe it's time someone told the truth. As the Starlight Venture broke away from the station, Alex felt Krell's consciousness mesh more deeply with his own. The Varaxian showed him mental images of their destination, a hidden world where the last of their kind had gathered, waiting for a day when the galaxy might understand them again. We'll make them listen, Alex promised, as stars streaked past the viewport. We'll fix this mistake. Beside him, Krell's low rumble might almost have been mistaken for a purr. The Starlight Venture emerged from its final jump into a system that wasn't on any alliance charts. A blue-green planet orbited a stable yellow star, with 3 moons creating complex patterns in its night sky. "Are you sure this is right?" Captain Wright asked, studying the readings. "There's no sign of technology or artificial structures." Alex stood beside Krell on the bridge, feeling the Varaxians' growing excitement through their bond. "That's deliberate. They've hidden themselves well." As they entered orbit, Krell guided them to a landing site, a vast plain surrounded by forests. Nothing seemed unusual until they were less than a mile above the surface. Then suddenly, a shimmer passed across the view screen, and an entire city appeared below them. "Holographic camouflage," Ryan whispered. "Incredibly advanced." The landing was met with both caution and curiosity. Dozens of Varaxians gathered at a safe distance, their blue-scaled bodies gleaming in the planet's sunlight. None carried weapons, but Alex could feel their wariness through Krell's mental link. "They're afraid," Alex said. "They haven't seen humans in generations." Krell was first down the ramp, making complex gestures with its upper limbs. After a moment, an older Varaxian with silver-streaked scales stepped forward. The mental communication between them was intense enough that Alex could feel echoes of it. "That's their elder," Alex explained to the crew. "Krell is telling our story." The elder approached slowly, studying the humans with ancient eyes. When it reached Alex, it extended one clawed hand, touching his forehead gently. Images flooded Alex's mind. Centuries of hiding, watching stars they once traveled freely, teaching young Varaxians about the bond with humans that once existed. Alex gasped as the connection ended. They've been waiting. For hundreds of years, they've been waiting for humans to find them again. The elder made a gesture, and other Varaxians approached. Unlike Krell, these wore simple clothing adorned with what appeared to be technology, small devices that glowed with soft light. Daniel studied them with fascination. Their society continued evolving even in hiding. The elder led them into the city, which blended harmoniously with the natural environment. Buildings curved around trees rather than replacing them. Energy systems harvested light without damaging the planet. It was a civilization built on respect for life. In a central building, the elder activated a holographic display showing the history Krell had shared, but with much more detail. The rise of human Varaxian cooperation, the jealousy of the Sereth, the attacks and framing of Varaxians. The elder paused the display on an image of humans and Varaxians fighting side by side against the true attackers. They tried to tell the truth. Alex translated as the elder communicated. But the Sereth had infiltrated early Alliance leadership. The evidence was buried. Varaxians were declared enemies. "All this time," Captain Wright said quietly, "we've been hunting potential allies." The elder showed them more, how Varaxians could have helped advance human technology, medicine, and exploration, how the telepathic bond between compatible humans and Varaxians created partnerships more effective than either species alone. "They're offering to renew that alliance," Alex said, amazed. "To start again." A younger Varaxian approached Alex, carrying what appeared to be an ancient human artifact, a tarnished metal badge. Through Krell, Alex understood its significance. It had belonged to the last human who had lived among them, who had died still believing the two species would reconcile. The peaceful moment was shattered by an alarm from the ship. Ryan rushed to check the communication system. "Alliance fleet," he reported grimly. 6 warships. They've tracked us somehow." The elder's reaction wasn't fear but resignation, as if this moment had been foreseen. Through Krell, Alex understood the Varaxians' thought. They had prepared for this possibility for generations. "They have defenses," Alex told the others. "But they won't attack first. They never do." Captain Wright straightened her uniform. Then we need a different approach. If we can't fight our way out of this, we'll have to make them listen." Krell and the Elder exchanged a look. Then both turned to Alex with the same thought in their minds. It was time for the galaxy to learn the truth, whatever the cost. The Alliance fleet hung in orbit like a cluster of metal predators. Their weapons were armed, targeting systems locked on both the Starlight Venture and the now exposed Voraxian city below. "This is Admiral Harlow of the Galactic Alliance," came the transmission. "You are harboring dangerous organisms classified as threats to all sentient life. Surrender immediately, or we will open fire." Alex stood on the bridge of the Starlight Venture, Krell beside him. Captain Wright sat in her command chair, face determined. "Admiral," she responded calmly, "before you commit to an action you can't undo, I ask that you review the evidence we're sending now." Ryan Porter transmitted the historical records they'd discovered, along with Daniel's biological findings. The bridge crew held their breath, watching the fleet's positions on the tactical display. "Captain Wright." Admiral Harlow's voice was cold. "These so-called findings contradict centuries of Alliance policy. They change nothing." Alex stepped forward. "Admiral, request permission to broadcast to all ships in your fleet." "Denied," Harlow snapped. "Prepare to be boarded." Krell placed a clawed hand on the communication console. Through their mental link, Alex understood the Voraxians' plan. Nodding, he activated emergency protocols that Engineer Amanda had prepared. Suddenly, every screen on every Alliance vessel displayed the same image. Krell standing protectively beside Alex, with the Voraxian Elder and Captain Wright at their sides. "To all Alliance personnel," Alex began, his voice steady, "what you've been told about Voraxians is false. They were peaceful explorers who formed bonds with early human colonists. They were framed for atrocities by another species and have been in hiding ever since." The Elder stepped forward, extending both upper limbs in a traditional Voraxian peace gesture. Behind them, dozens more Voraxians emerged, each making the same motion. "Look at them," Alex continued. "They have advanced technology, defenses, weapons, yet they stand before you unarmed. They could have disappeared again when we tracked them. Instead, they welcome the chance for truth." On the tactical display, something changed. One Alliance ship broke formation. "This is Captain Ben Mitchell of the Alliance vessel Pioneer." A new voice joined the channel. "My grandfather served on one of the early exploration vessels. He left journals that mentioned friendly contact with a blue-scaled species. I always thought they were fiction, but now." A second ship changed position, then a third. Admiral Harlow's furious voice cut through. "This is mutiny. Return to formation immediately." "Sir," Captain Mitchell replied, "I can't in good conscience fire on a peaceful settlement without proper investigation. The first protocol of Alliance founding requires us to seek truth before action." Alex felt hope rising as half the fleet now refused to maintain aggressive positions. Through his bond with Krell, he sensed the Voraxians' complex emotions, fear, hope, and a deep gratitude that transcended words. Admiral Harlow's ship remained locked on target. "Captain Wright, you have compromised Alliance security. Your career is over." "Perhaps," she acknowledged, "but I can live with that." "Can you live with ordering the extinction of a species that might have been our greatest allies?" For what seemed like eternity, no one spoke. Then, finally, Admiral Harlow's ship powered down its weapons. "A full investigation will be conducted," he said stiffly. "All evidence will be reviewed by an independent council." 3 months later, Alex stood before the Galactic Alliance Council, Krell at his side. Representatives from 17 species listened as they presented the complete history of human-Voraxian relations. The evidence was overwhelming, the truth undeniable. The formal apology to the Voraxian people was broadcast throughout Alliance space. A new era of cooperation began, with human-Voraxian pairs leading the way. The ancient practice of forming mental bonds between compatible individuals of both species was studied and celebrated. In the final chamber session, Alex felt Krell's pride through their now permanent bond. "What happens next?" asked one council member. Alex smiled. "Exploration. That's what both our species do best. Together this time." 1 month later, Alex and Krell boarded a new vessel, the Alliance Explorer Harmony, the first ship with a joint human-Varaxian crew. As they prepared to depart, Alex noticed other pairs forming among the crew, humans and Varaxians finding compatible minds. "Ready?" Alex asked, though he already knew the answer through their bond. Krell's reply came as both emotion and thought. "We have always been ready. Now finally, so does the galaxy." The Harmony jumped to light speed, carrying with it the promise of a future where understanding replaced fear and friendship conquered prejudice. "I notice you're asking for Part 8, but the original outline was for a 7-part story which we've now completed. However, I'd be happy to write an epilogue or follow-up chapter. Here's Part 8 as requested." 5 years had passed since the Alliance Explorer Harmony made its historic first voyage with a joint human-Varaxian crew. Now, similar ships traveled throughout known space, each with bonded pairs serving as the core of their crews. Alex stood at the observation deck of New Harmony Station, watching ships dock and depart. The massive space station orbited at the midpoint between Earth and Vorax, the newly official name of the Varaxian homeworld. Built with both human and Varaxian architecture, the station served as an embassy, research center, and training facility. "Still hard to believe sometimes," said Captain Olivia Wright, now Admiral Wright, as she joined him at the viewport. Her uniform now bore the insignia of the Joint Exploration Command. "Which part?" Alex asked with a smile. "All of it." She gestured to the busy docking area where humans and Varaxians worked side by side. 5 years ago, most humans had never seen a Varaxian except in warning images. Krell approached them, moving with the fluid grace that still impressed Alex even after years of partnership. The Varaxian wore a simple vest embedded with communication technology. "The new students have arrived," Krell communicated, the thoughts reaching both Alex and Olivia. Over time, Krell had learned to extend telepathic communication to others Alex trusted. They walked together to the central atrium, where 30 young humans and 20 Varaxians gathered. These were the newest candidates for the bonding program, carefully selected for compatibility. "Welcome to New Harmony," Alex addressed the group. "You're here because you've shown potential for what we now call the connection, the mental bond between compatible humans and Varaxians." A young human woman raised her hand. "Is it true you were the first in centuries to form a complete bond?" Alex nodded. "Krell and I didn't know what we were doing. We just followed instinct. Now we understand the process much better." The elder from Vorax, now a regular visitor to the station, stepped forward. Silver had spread further through its scales, but its movements remained strong and purposeful. "The connection was once common," the elder communicated, with Alex translating for those who couldn't yet receive Voraxian thoughts. "It brought great advances to both our peoples. What was lost will now grow again." The training would take months. Not all candidates would form bonds, but those who did would join exploration vessels, research teams, or diplomatic missions. Each paired human and Varaxian amplified each other's natural abilities. Humans gaining enhanced perception and instincts, Varaxians gaining human adaptability and creativity. After the orientation, Alex and Krell visited the research wing where Daniel Pierce, now Chief Medical Director, supervised a team studying the neurological aspects of the bond. "The latest scans are fascinating," Daniel told them, displaying brain activity patterns. "We're seeing new neural pathways forming in both species. The bond actually changes how both brains function." Later that evening, Alex and Krell stood alone on a private observation deck, watching the stars. Through their bond, they shared memories without words, the fear of those early days, the battle for truth, the gradual acceptance that followed. "We have a message from the Sickness Expedition," Alex said, checking his communicator. "They've made contact with 3 new species, all peaceful, all curious about the human Varaxian pairs. Krell's thoughts flowed into Alex's mind. Perhaps others can learn from our mistake. Fear nearly destroyed both our peoples, and trust saved us. Alex finished aloud. A ship departed the station below them, its hull bearing both Alliance and Varaxian markings. It would travel further than any previous expedition, carrying with it the living proof that understanding could overcome even centuries of hatred. Krell's thought came with a wave of emotion that needed no translation. This is only the beginning. Alex nodded, feeling the truth of it through their bond. The galaxy had been shocked by a human befriending its supposed deadliest predator. But that shock had opened doors long closed, beginning a journey that would reshape the stars themselves. Together, they watched the exploration vessel until it disappeared into the darkness between stars, carrying their legacy forward.